Hello, my name is Enrique Cerezo, and in this video I am going to give you some tips to help you write and structure academic projects. This presentation is going to be organized as follows. First of all, I will give you some tips to help you design your project. Secondly, I will show you how an academic project should be structured. After that, I will focus on formatting aspects and how to write in-text citations. Finally, a conclusion will wrap up the main information covered. So the main objective of this presentation is to help the student write an academic paper in accordance with the standards of this textual genre. Before you embark on such a long and arduous project, the first thing you need to do is to define it as much as possible. This means that you should focus on a particular aspect related to the main topic chosen. The space is limited and you can't talk about everything. So you need to decide what you want to bring up in your project and, as a result, what you want to learn through it. Bear in mind that the project should be original and innovative. You shouldn't write your own paper based on previously published literature. It doesn't mean, though, that you can't use other scientific sources, like, for example, papers, conference proceedings, etc. In fact, you must read other academic sources so that you know the state of the art, as this will help you target more precisely your goals and know the kind of project that can best fill the void detected in the literature. Also, your project should contribute to the solution of a problem or the achievement of specific goals. Your proposal should thus be real, and if applied, it should produce tangible results. The project should be structured as follows. Title. It should be informative and precise and attract the reader's attention as much as possible. Bear in mind that only if the title is attractive will the reader be inclined to read the project. As this is an academic project, it should have an abstract and keywords. The main ideas put forward in the paper should be foregrounded in a 150 or 200 word paragraph. Additionally, 3 or 4 keywords should clearly identify the main topic under investigation. Then, there should be the introduction. This section should stress the reason for choosing this topic and its importance at the national or global level. After the introduction, you should talk about the problem under investigation. The main problem should be identified and explained. A link between your area of expertise and the problem under investigation should also be established. For instance, if you are studying telecommunications and your project is about global education, you should try to relate your specific knowledge about telecommunications to education. For instance, how can you contribute to the improvement of education through your area of expertise? Everything in the world is connected, and that innovation capacity is vital if you want to be successful in your career. Literature review. For this section, you should find other studies that have been previously carried out and briefly put forward the main results obtained. And remember that the studies referred to in the in-text citations must be included in the reference section. To give the project enough academic rigor and integrity, you should quote at least 5 or 6 sources. Remember that this is an academic project and it should be rooted in previous research. After the literature section, you should move on to your proposal. Present your own ideas or a solution to the problem identified. Explain how it can be implemented, the steps that have to be followed, emphasize the technical advantages, etc. Once your proposal has been presented, it is time to move on to the results and discussion section. Explain briefly the possible outcomes of the project and its feasibility. Comment on any design or technical limitations and suggest possible improvements for the future. And finally, the conclusion. Highlight briefly the main findings of your project and how it can contribute to your development as a professional. And don't forget that you need to add a list of references. As long as possible, references should have been published in the last 5 years. The world advances very quickly, and you should demonstrate that you are aware of current developments and research studies that have recently been conducted. Let me give you now some formatting tips and tell you how to write references. As long as possible, try to upload a PDF document, not a Word document, to avoid formatting problems. All pages must be numbered except the cover. The cover should include the following information: title of the project, names of the authors, name of the course, name of the professor, and the logo of your institution. Please note that plagiarism is strictly forbidden in any academic project. Remember that you are allowed to refer to the results of other studies, but you should use your own words. And if you quote the literal words of the authors, you should use inverted commas. All visual materials used, illustrations, tables, etc., must be numbered and captioned. Visual material must not be used to explain an idea. It should help the reader understand the idea presented. It should thus complement the written text. And also make use of academic language. An inappropriate register of vague language must be avoided. Now, how do you have to add in-text citations? Well, all academic projects or publishers have their own style sheet. So there's not one single way to do it. But let me show you a common way to do it. If you rephrase what another author said, you should write in parentheses the surname of the author or authors, comma, and the year of the article, chapter, or book when it was published, just like in the first example. You can also use multiple citations, that is, quote various authors who share the same idea or view something in a different way. In the same way. The authors of each article are separated by a semicolon. You can use et al., which means and others. You use et al. When there are a lot of authors and writing all their surnames would take up too much space. And finally, if you write a direct quote, that is, you write exact words used by the author, you should mention the author in the text, and in parentheses, you need to write his or her name, colon, and the page where that quote can be read. Remember that the words of the author need to be written in inverted commas. As for the references, my recommendation is to use the APA style, which is well known in the scientific community. By way of conclusion, I would like to emphasize that an academic project is not just a project where you write about something. It goes a step further. It should have an academic background and contribute to sharing knowledge or new ideas with other people. It should be structured according to the conventions of this textual genre, as we saw before. The project must have academic rigor, so you need to quote other authors, and this should be done following some strict guidelines depending on the journal, publisher, or instructions given by the professor. It should also be written in an appropriate academic style. Therefore, you should avoid using informal words, phrasal verbs, etc. Here you have a link in a book in case you want to delve into the topic a bit more. And that's all. Thanks for watching this video.